Alrighty, traders, it is Monday, January 29th, 2024. Let's dive into the markets and our trading portfolios on the day today, see how things went. Overall, great day for our portfolios. Everything was up today, and markets also up pretty solidly today as well. So let's get into that. Let me take me off the screen so you can see what we're doing. See the whole screen. And let's just jump into it. So the S&P today climbed 36 bucks on the session, so 0.76%. So if we break this down, take a look at SPY on here, we'll move it up to another new all-time high on SPY. So that's looking pretty solid as we just continue to move higher. If we're looking at just the weekly versus the weekly, it's been powering higher as well. Just another start to another week where we power into, getting close to this overbought levels, setting new highs, breaking out here of this ascending wedge that we had, or ascending triangle. So we'll take that thing off of the market here, and just the relentless move to the upside. MACD broke, still powering higher. RSI is powering higher. Now it's overbought. So we are overbought to the upside. Squeeze here fired, and squeeze now getting a little bit long, but squeeze has been moving to the upside. So I think, everything's still very, very bullish on SPY. Let's take a look at the Qs. Pretty much the same story here on the Qs. Things are just moving higher. The weekly RSI, MACD, squeeze firing to the upside. Same thing on the daily. Pretty kind of leveled out a bit here. So we've leveled out on really the MACD and the RSI, but squeeze continues to just power higher. Now we're really in, getting close to that 8-day span where, things might start to work their way off. However, we are not hitting new highs with the techs. Then if we take a look at IWM, here we are back now to some new areas of trying to break out of this range. Let's extend this range off a little bit more here. Okay, so we bounced up against it. This range, we had broken it previously, then got back down underneath, came back up, slammed into it, and then today broke above it again. Solid, solid daily MACD recovery, RSI powering higher, squeeze reversal, and moving back higher. So everything's stacked up well on the daily. And look, get the 9 moving above the 21, above the 50. So everything's stacked and looks really solid here on IWM on the daily. On the weekly, though, you had MACD falling, but RSI is rising, and the squeeze has been triggering for a while now to the upside. Might be getting a little long, but I think we could have a little more upside to go in this thing. But overall, pretty solid looking moves. You're back to 78% of the stocks in the S&P above their 50-day moving average. Put call ratio dropped a bit today. So if we take a quick look at this thing and we pull up the 10-day moving average, you've got it heading back lower, which is now bullish for the market. So we had a little bit of a bounce, a little bit bearish to sideways action, and now falling once again, which is also bullish. So we're hitting new highs, and you can see as we fall with the 10-day moving average, markets rise. When we were rising, markets were stagnating, but we never really got to this oversold level here on the put call ratio, but we're heading back down. So markets could spike up a little bit more. Let's jump into the VIX here. What do we see when it comes to the VIX? Had a bit of a spike today and then finished lower. Volatility still very, very, very low. Not dead, but pretty low overall here. And you can see on the VIX that we have a decent momentum moving to the upside a bit here, but now you have squeeze in play, potentially firing to the downside, and the weekly can't make up its mind where it wants to go, with a little bit of a, maybe a tad bullish bias, but it's really just sideways. There's nothing you can even infer from this. Let's take a look at the US dollar index sideways consolidation. There, MACD falling, RSI sideways, and tipping over a bit on the squeeze. So maybe running out of some momentum after a pretty nice, strong uptrend. If it breaks this ascending triangle, I think it could be a nice bullish move. But right now, looks like we're just going to move our way out of it, and then potentially we could tip over. Weekly looks decent for recovery to move higher. Daily's just been sideways, but could just move higher quickly. But a little bit of an up day on the dollar, not much there. And if we look at the 10-year, tipping over a bit more here. So we're tipping over, weekly recovering on the MACD, but the RSI has been falling. Squeeze has been triggered to the downside. So we are really still in a bearish mode overall on the rates, despite this little bit of a bounce in here, which could be rolling over. I think you could see rates start to drop down. I think we'll keep an eye on where this support is on rates, and I'm going to put my 50 line here on the RSI. Let's get the 50 going so we can see when the momentum really starts to take off to the up or the downside. And right now, you're rolling over on the MACD, you're back to the 50, a break of this with squeeze heading lower. And you could see, the rates starting to head down a little bit more, maybe to this area. I like where we are on this because I like the fact that you're a little bearish here, a little bullish here. Overall, pretty sideways action. Taking a look at the 6A, bullish trigger here today on the PSAR, MACD, RSI, all heading higher on the daily. So daily looks decent to break out of this downtrend, but weekly has been bearish. So I think a strangle right here sets up really, really nice on 6A. 6B, kind of the exact same thing in a really tight squeeze. Canadian dollar here, 6C, starting to recover to the upside. And then the euro here, down overall on this trend. Excuse my voice a bit today. But the euro moving down, and you got the RSI moving down. But, maybe it's running out of steam to the downside on the euro. We'll see. This downtrend is still intact. So until this breaks and we can get above the 21, we're still in a bit of a bearish mode overall. I don't love it as much as I like 6A as a trade. Take a look at the oil trade today. We did get a bit of a pullback. Oil had been breaking out of this ascending triangle for the last couple sessions. Popped higher so far and then started to sell off on the session. MACD 1 day down, RSI tipping over, squeeze is triggering here. So really I think just sideways solid improvement is what you've got going on oil. And you broke this downtrend sideways and up here. So MACD moving higher, RSI moving higher, squeeze reversing, and you get a PSAR bullish signal on the weekly. So overall, to me, it is a bit of a bullish trend in here. I like where we are, bullish to sideways, I think, for me. Taking a look at gold, and big breakout to the upside today, triggering a PSAR bullish signal. Reversal, MACD heading higher, RSI heading higher, squeeze we're now entering a 2-day squeeze as things start to tighten up here. Could gold be ready for a move to the upside? Well, when you look at the weekly, MACD's been heading lower, but RSI's trying to head higher, but the squeeze is running out of momentum. So I don't know, you're entering a squeeze. It's probably more likely to the upside, but I think overall, this is also setting up well for a strangle to a bit of a bullish move. So we've got a 2-1-1-2 trade here. We've got a strangle trade here. And today I put on a put credit spread out about 60 days to kind of mimic a 1-1-2 in this a bit as well. So I'm really betting to the upside here, or at least sideways. And I think that's what we'll hopefully get. We'll see. All right, on HG, it's been in this tight range. We'll get a bullish move here on the weekly. So the weekly looks pretty bullish. You got the PSAR bullish, MACD moving higher, RSI moving higher, squeeze moving higher. So that's moving pretty well. And then when we look at the daily, you got that also moving higher, MACD, RSI, squeeze moving higher. And you've got a nice bounce today off the 21. You got the 9 above the 21, above the 50, above the 200. 3 of those are pointing upwards. 200 is pretty flat. So really overall, I think copper also looks pretty good. So precious metals look pretty good for a little bit of a pop right now. And then with rates starting to drop, you might see bonds starting to move a bit more. I think it's still more of a sideways move, and that's how I'm playing it. I do have a strangle on here. We put that strangle on Friday. It's up 4.5% already. I've also got a 112 trade on. We've been 24 days in the trade. That's up 142% on this particular trade. Now, from a weekly standpoint, weaker MACD, RSI has been heading lower, and it is bouncing right off this 50 and getting a little long in the squeeze with a PSAR bearish signal. So we're a bit bearish on the weekly, a little bit mixed, but somewhat of a bit bearish. And then when we look at the daily here, MACD trying to move its way higher, RSI pushing higher, squeeze reversing higher here, and a PSAR bullish reversal signal today as we come right back to this downtrend line. So we're going to see how this acts as it's been in this downtrend channel. But I like where bonds are. I think you could just stay in this range for quite a while that we've been in now for about 2 months or so. So we'll keep an eye on where bonds are, but I've got trades going on in bonds. Really like how it's performing. Sectors on the session today. Don't want to spend too much time. Energy, the only down sector on the day was energy. Everything else was up, led by semiconductors to the upside, strong biotech move to the upside, pharma, big move to the upside, regional banks, pretty strong move, the XLY as well here on the consumer discretionary, pretty good bounce here. Looking pretty decent to maybe make a little bit of a run, even though we've got some weekly bullish activity here. Could get a little bit of a bounce. It's just a lot of mixed signals. Even though a lot of daily stuff's bullish, the weekly's not super bullish on anything, which just means a little bit of sideways here. I think any kind of an up and down market, I think, gives us some opportunities. So what does this look like on the Magnificent Seven? Well, you had Apple off sharply on the day, but then recovering towards the close, but still down on the day. So Apple, the lone down trading stock, with MACD, RSI, both rolling over, even though the squeeze is powering its way to the upside. And if we look at the weekly, it's been a bit bearish overall here just more recently. But again, kind of mixed signals here. I wouldn't be betting one way or the other. Microsoft, another new all-time high. Looking at the weekly, powering higher into overbought territory. And the same thing here on the daily, powering higher into overbought. That's pretty solid to the upside. Amazon powering higher to the upside as well. So Amazon really kicking things off, looking pretty good, up 1.34%. We're heading into earnings. So is everybody trying to position themselves into earnings here by getting long some of these, except Apple, obviously? Okay, let's put the 50 line in here on RSI. But you can see we are slowly heading towards the overbought territory on Amazon, breaking out of this ascending triangle to the upside here. Meta, same thing, powering its way higher to the upside, setting new recent highs, but it's also overbought weekly move. I mean, this has been just a ridiculous up move with almost no break. Some of the sideways consolidation that we had in here. Okay, if we drew this over here, this is what we were looking at here with this nice ascending triangle that we had back in here and that. And in fact, we'll take this, we'll leave the longer one on and take the the newer one off. So you had this nice ascending triangle in here, and then we broke to the upside, and you got a good move. Now it's overextended, overbought, over the 3 ATR. I think Meta extended to the upside a little too much. Everything similar, ascending triangle, breakout, extended to the upside, overbought on at least the daily. NVIDIA, not setting new highs, but doggone close, overbought on the daily and the weekly on this move higher. It's been a sharp move. And you can see that this thing's just extending its way, just way up here above the 3 ATR. We'll see if that continues. Tesla having a pretty good rebound day. Okay, Tesla bouncing, getting a little bit of a dead cat bounce. We put the 3-day rule into effect, so we're day 2 into this. After the move down, we'll see what happens. If I'm not ready to just throw everything into a bullish move here or recovery, but you do have a gap to fill. We'll see if we can fill that gap and then see what happens. But I will just kind of sit on the sidelines and watch this excitingly move. And then Netflix, I think this thing's running out of gas. So this was one of the trades this weekend that I pointed out. Netflix way gapped up way above the 3 ATR. Okay. Moved up even more today, squeeze firing to the upside, overbought, but it can stay overbought here. I just think this thing might have gone a little bit too far, too fast. And I think a little bit of downside would be interesting to look at. Take a look at a couple other things here. Boeing continues to just struggle down here, but maybe putting in a bit of a base. So I wanted to point this out. We still have a bearish PSAR on both the daily and the weekly. On Boeing, we are heading into earnings on the 31st, but everything on the weekly is heading lower. And then on the daily, things are starting to improve a fraction or at least heading sideways, which not giving me great conviction that this thing's going to continue to the upside because the weekly is still in control. Here, we'll see how these things shape up here. If we can get some momentum more to the upside going, and we can break this downtrend line, but we got earnings coming out. We'll see what happens in earnings. That's going to help determine whether we start to break to the upside on that. I wanted to, let's not look at Bitcoin. Let's look at Monster here. If we take a look at Monster, at MicroStrategy, which is a good Bitcoin proxy, the weekly has been, pretty doggone weak. However, I think now you're breaking the downtrend line. You had a bullish PSAR reversal today. Moving up, you've been moving up solidly on the MACD. The RSI is also moving up. Put the 50 in. And that thing is getting close to the 50 here. So when that happens, we could get even more momentum pushing us to the upside. So I think that looks pretty good here for a potential move. But I also pointed out Coin this weekend. When are the earnings on Coin? On not till February 15th. I know there's too many lines on here. You can pop in the comments about the lines, but really what I wanted to, there's a lot going on, and I put some extra lines on this weekend as I was doing a little bit of work coming up with some trades. And if you don't catch all my charts, if you have an interest in following what I'm doing, a lot of them get posted on Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where you'll see most of my charts. I'm not going to post too many of them on YouTube, but I do these videos every day. I wanted to put these two different lines in here for support. We're really hanging on to this first one. The second one here is a big pivot level. So I think anywhere in this range, I think you could find support. MACD has been heading higher. RSI is heading higher as well. And then today, you got this bounce off of the support. And now you've got a break of the downtrend, a break of the PSAR. So it's a bullish PSAR reversal. You broke the 9, you broke the 50 or closed right at it. You tagged the 21 today. I think Coin could be an interesting run here if Bitcoin continues to improve. And if we're looking at Bitcoin, this thing has just been on an absolute rocket higher. And I think also to take a look at Oxy, this could be a nice double bottom here on Oxy. In fact, this is a quintuple bottom. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now maybe 6. So a sextuple bottom here. MACD moving higher, RSI is moving higher on Oxy. I like Oxy in here. I think this chart looks pretty good if you wanted to do something along those lines of getting long on Oxy. I think a good risk reward setup here. So we've moved higher, good risk reward. We'll see if this thing continues. A little bit of a selling today with oil being down, but it's been on a good move. I like the reparation here of these moving averages. So we'll keep an eye on how that goes. Let's jump into our accounts. All right, so let's get into the account. Let's look at the main account first here on the day. We had our beta weighted deltas at 321, so we really stayed exactly the same as we were from Friday. 0.08, so pretty delta neutral, despite the market moving up solidly. Today, theta 1134, so theta increased on the day. Mainly, we got a little bit of a bump in VIX, which was nice. So a nice bump in VIX on the session. Theta at 0.27, so decent theta in the account as it's moving higher. We'll keep an eye on that. On the net lick here, 416,673 is where we closed on the day. That is near a new all-time high, so we're just fractionally off of the new all-time high. You have BP usage at 250 here. So this BP use, if we take Bill out of the equation, we're sitting right at 50. So I think that's a pretty good spot to be in. We're sitting exactly at 50% buying power, which is where I like to be. We're right at it. Didn't have to really add any trades today, but we did close another $520 worth of realized gains on the day. So we've taken now our realized gains on the month to 18,828. We're up 4.76%. We've also increased our net lick by 21,125, over 5% net lick. Where are we on SPY? Here, let's take a look year to date on SPY. SPY is up 3.94%, and it's having a pretty good solid month. And if we look at our account, we're beating that on both the realized gains and the net lick gains on this account. Most of those gains have come in the form of 112 trades, not only ES 112s, oil 112s, gold 112s, and other 112s on futures, of $8,000 so far on that. 2,200 on long-term 112s. We closed 3 last month, so I knew I wasn't going to close probably 2 this month, and didn't have to because we had our gains coming from somewhere else. But we did close 1 long-term 112 so far. So when you look at the total 112 trades, it's like over $10,000 when you factor these in. And then you've got some strangles for another $6,400 in strangle gains. A lot on gold, but we had some on oil and a few other future strangles. Then where some of our other gains come from right now, we had the FB112 PDS come off because we'd already realized the gains last month on the naked puts. So these just expired. There was really no loss on the trade except the loss of funds when you're just booking the final loss. And then 0DTE, $2,665 on 0DTE. We have won 15 out of 16 trades on 0DTE. And overall for the month, we have won 34 out of 35 trades for a 97% win rate overall. Our goal for the month as far as returns was 11,000. We're at 18,828. So we have beaten our goal so far by 6,900. The month's not over. We could still win or lose some money, but overall, fantastic win rates on here. And what did we close today? Well, we closed 2 more 0DTE trades. This is a great morning for 0DTE to do both sides. So we opened the put spread, 48.55, 48.25. And then we also opened a call spread just a little bit later on a little bit of a move up. We opened them both for 40 cents. We closed them both for 20 cents. So 50% winners on both of those. We took in 260 bucks on each trade. So there's your $520, 0.7% return per trade. So 1.4% return on margin today for 0 DTE trades, adding to our total. So a really good month on 0 DTE. Again, 14 out of 15 winners. We only had the one loser. We're looking pretty good. So I like where we are on the account. What did we put on today? We only did those 0 DTE trades, and then I also put on a gold credit spread today. Gold does not set itself up really well as a 1-1-2 trade. And you know what? Let's just jump in and we can take a quick look at what that looks like. And I'll tell you why I did what I did. All right, so when we're in here taking a look at gold, so in gold, we would have gone out to put on a standard 1-1-2 trade. I go out about 60 days, and I'm looking for to put on probably something along these lines of a 1-1-2 trade. Okay, so when I look at this gold trade, here's my 1-1-2 on gold. Okay, not too bad. Okay, but it's, you know, for the trap, but the actual tail itself, you know, I'm only getting $180 on $8,300. Gold is just not a great underlying to put these trades on, to put a 1-1-2 on. In order to make this worth my while, I'd want at least like a 6% tail on my buying power. So you'd have to move your naked puts up decently, okay, to get something along these lines here. And now I'm making, you know, 570 bucks on 10,000, but that's only like, you know, I guess it's close to 6%. Okay, it's 5.6%, but I don't know, this 1935, when I look at gold on my charts, 1935 is pretty doggone high up from where things are. It's not bad. I mean, it's below the current 3 ATR on the daily, but it is not below the 3 ATR on the weekly, which is really where I'd like to see us hang above. And you're pretty far out. It's just not set up well. So gold doesn't set up great. One of the things you can do on gold, and let's go back to the original shape that we had, which is kind of our typical. And maybe I want to put on, oh, let's look out here. I don't know. I'm just going to pop some trades on. Let's look at the 1-1-2-1 trade here for gold. How does this shape up? Well, I'm still only getting 120 bucks, but now I'm only doing it on 6,000. It's still not helping me overall on this particular trade. Can I start to move this up? Does that help? Well, it's reducing the buying power, but it's also hurting my overall credit. I mean, it's 100 bucks on 5,000. That's not going to do it. So moving this up isn't the answer. Moving this put down, okay, helps out a bit, but not enough to really make things go. Can I double this? Okay. If I double that put, now my buying power is significantly reduced, but I'm just not making enough money on this particular trade. Okay. You have to come way down here, okay, to start to bring some money back. But even $110 on 5670, it's only like a 2% return. It's just, I can't make gold really work very, very, very well on it. So, you know, I'm going to actually take this down by 1. Okay. And so this PDS, it's just not helpful. This PDS is really costing you quite a bit of money. I can make it more narrow, which helps the trade a bit. I could take it down farther, which helps the trade even more. Okay. And I still need to have these puts way out here somewhere in no man's land, trying to help out. All right. So now how's it look? Well, 290 bucks on 6,320, right, is about 4.5%. Well, now it's a little bit better, but we've had to drop these down. We've had to squeeze them tight to like 5 wide. This is just not helpful on this particular trade. Right. So what I wanted to do was let's take a look at what we could put on here and just throw on a credit spread. And then really that in the end, that's what I did. I just put on a put credit spread here. I took the PDS off because the PDS is really what kills you on these gold trades. And I am bullish on gold. I wanted to get a little bit of some relief here on margin. So I wanted to keep it as a credit spread. And I could do the 2-1 split here, or I can do just a standard credit spread. I looked at doing a ratio spread. It didn't really set up well. So I think right now this is what I'm looking for, something in these lines. I mean, this is not the exact trade that we had on, but this gives you somewhat of a sense of a trade here, that gets me like a 10% initial, which would give me 5% if I close at 50. Okay, I'm only using a little bit of buying power. I can get 10% on this trade. My naked puts are still pretty far out down here. So I do like this trade. So I'm going to keep this, something along these lines. Ratio spread really didn't work. Okay, these are all versions of the same type of trades. Okay, and a ratio spread here, I could have done it. Okay, but with such a small tent to make less money, why not just do that? Okay, and make more money. So I think this to me was the smarter move. And I could have done a 2-1 version of this, but I really just left it on. So anyway, that's how I ended up trading gold, because I am long and I wanted to get that particular trade on there. So that's how I jumped into that. If we look at the small account on the day today, 15,653, we're close to a new all-time high. We've only really closed one trade this month, so we haven't had a ton of activity, but the net lick is up. I expect to start to close out a lot more trades coming up, but we're still hanging on there, doing okay. And then if we take a look at the IRA trades as well, IRA 249,671, doggone close to a new all-time high. And we closed a short put of a PDS to turn one of our long-term 112s into a really giant ratio spread if the market decides to go sideways. So we turned it into a really giant hedge overall. So that's where this little loss, I spent a couple $100 to put on a really gigantic hedge of a ratio spread. All right, so there's where we are on the day. I hope this makes sense for you. If you like this video and got something out of it, click that like button for me, and like the trade, and like what we're doing in here and sharing with you guys. We're trying to share the journey of what we're doing, how we're making money. We are having a fantastic overall month here, up almost 5%, and realize an over 5% in actual portfolio gains. So we're having a great month so far. Join us for the ride. And if you want to join us in Discord, see what we're doing, we've got Joseph Puckett in there sharing his trades. We got Igor sharing his trades in the service. We've got Stacy sharing her small account trades. We've got Eddie sharing his small and large account trades. And we've got a bunch of other members sharing their trades and what they're doing. Andy with his 1121 trades that he's doing, and his unique butterfly, or I think on his hedges. We're going to be doing a new cool session this week with one of our IBKR members from Spain. He's going to take control of our Zoom session on Wednesday. So we're going to let our members have the floor on Wednesday, show us how he's trading on IBKR, on Interactive Brokers from Spain, how he's setting up his 112s, how he's setting up his trades, how he's doing his purchases on T-bills, So you'll get a chance to see all of that if you're a member. If you're not, come join us in our Discord. You can see a link below in the description, right to our Discord. You got the code KING to get a discount on the first month. Come and join, see what we're doing. Join a community of great masterminds and traders willing to help each other share. I'm learning something every day. So hopefully our members here, and the more everybody shares, the more we all learn and grow together. I'm not saying that I know it all. I'm just sharing what I'm doing so you guys can follow along and maybe get excited about taking control of your trading lives as well. All right. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody. We'll see you in trading tomorrow, and stay safe. Bye-bye.